Hey group 1, welcome to your reading. So today we're going to let your future spouse hype you up. I just thought everyone could use a nice, happy sort of reading. So that's the vibe for today. We have the Four of Pentacles, we have the Page of Swords, we have the Four of Cups, we have Divination, Intuition, and Whispers of Spring. Okay, a lot of messages coming forward with just these cards. So your future spouse is saying to me that they really love this sort of idealism that you have. There's something about you that feels very playful, very joyful, like you typically are someone who is in a happy-go-lucky, optimistic kind of mood, or you have a sense of faith or spirituality about yourself that they really admire and they really respect. You're a dreamer, you have a vivid imagination, and they love that about you. They love how even when it's difficult, you choose to see the cup half full, or you choose to find the silver lining. For you, happiness is a choice. You may have led a very difficult life, and yet you choose to be resilient. You choose to be happy even in the face of adversity. You choose to, find the good in things or find the purpose in the pain. And I think that you have a really lovely sense of humor. And even if it's not their exact sense of humor, I think it's very endearing to them. And you may be one of those people where if you're insulted or someone's mean to you, you make a joke about it or you laugh it off, It's almost like, if you guys ever watched Friends, how Phoebe was, someone could say something mean to her, but it's like I feel like Phoebe sometimes played like she was ditzy, but really she was smart and she was wise. And, I think that was part of her humor, part of her sort of shield, her way to protect herself. I'm going to pretend like I don't understand what you're saying, or, I'm going to find the humor in this. And I think that's something that your future spouse really admires and respects about you. And you are very clever. And I think you're really witty, but I think sometimes also something about your sense of humor, if people don't get it, they may read you as ditzy. I don't know why that word is coming through, but they may read you as even childlike in some ways, or oh, you're so innocent. But I think you've actually dealt with a lot in your life, just the same as Phoebe did in Friends, right? She lived a very hard life, and, prior to becoming part of the friend group, right? She was homeless, living on the streets. She was like an orphan. Things were tough. But she was still so happy-go-lucky. And Phoebe definitely had a spiritual side. And so, I feel like people just may read you in this way and they've got you all wrong. And it's funny, that is funny too, because I think people may chronically underestimate you, or see you all wrong, read you totally wrong. But your future spouse is saying, people read you so wrong, but yet you were so good at reading other people. With divination and intuition here, your future spouse is saying they are really amazed at how intuitive you are, how good you are at reading the energy of a room. You're very emotionally intelligent, and you can read people like a book. And they really trust your judgment. They trust your judgment of character. And, you may just get a vibe from people and you don't have evidence, to support it. Maybe you just met the person, but something may feel off about them. Something may prompt you intuitively to pause, to hold back, to be more guarded, to keep this person at a distance. Something about you in your gut may just send off an alarm bell of like, this person can't be trusted. And it may go the other way too, where, you know, you meet someone and you find yourself opening up to them because you intuitively can sense that they are a safe space, that they can be trusted. So you're a very good judge of character. And I think that they really love how they don't have to say too much for you to get how they're feeling, and you to get how they want to be supported in that moment. I think you are someone who's just very emotionally intelligent, and your intuitiveness and ability to read people, you know, kind of put you in the space of being a really great support system. And I think your future spouse really appreciates that if they're feeling really, really down, you're the person they want around them. And when something really good happens to them, you're the first person they want to tell, because they know you'll be supportive. And I mean, with the repeating 4s here, there's just this energy of like, I feel safe with you. I feel secure with you. I feel like I can be vulnerable with you. You feel like home to me. And with the whispers of spring, you may come into your future spouse's life at a time where they feel really jaded about love, or whether, you know, they may question whether they're ever going to meet the one, or they went through a bad breakup, or they don't trust so easily, or things have just been hard, you know, maybe in other aspects of their life. And you come in with the energy of spring and renewal. So it's like you're breathing life back, you know, into a chapter of their life where they felt like they were stuck in winter, where things felt cold and lonely and isolated and challenging. And you come in with this beautiful feather heart and this beautiful lighthearted energy, and you bring the light back in. And they're really grateful for that. And they can tell that you're someone who has learned from life, and you have a lot of wisdom. And there's a simplicity to your wisdom. I think that you're someone who has been through a lot of painful experiences, but you haven't let those experiences get the best of you. You've gotten the best from those experiences. Again, finding purpose in the pain. I think that the whispers of spring makes me think of like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Like again and again, we will go through this rebirth. We will grow from this. I'm not just going to go through this. I'm going to grow from it. And you're so beautiful to them. I mean, you are so beautiful. There's something about your physical appearance that, I don't know, there's just something very sweet about your physical appearance, and something about you that makes them want to just cuddle you and hug you and hold you close, and something about you that seems so fragile. You know, fragile sort of like the petals of a flower could feel fragile, but yet think about the roots of that plant and the strength that's there. And that's sort of the dichotomy of who you are. And I feel like they fall in love with that. This balance of hardness and softness, that strength and resiliency, but yet this beautiful emotional vulnerability and fragility and beauty to you that feels so precious. You know how they talk about renewable resources versus like non-renewable resources, and how if something is scarce, right? If there's a scarcity of something, like a rare gem, the value goes up because you can't just get it anywhere. And so that gem may be hard like a diamond, right? Maybe like physically hard, but it feels so fragile. It feels so special because it's small, and if you lose it, there's not many other gems like that in the world. I know that's a weird analogy, but that's kind of how like they feel about you. Like they see your strength, they see your toughness, but yet there's this fragility there. There's this feeling of like, you're rare, I don't want to lose you, you're special to me. It's really beautiful. Now also, I mean, some of you may have some psychic abilities that maybe you're not even aware of, or maybe you do pull tarot cards, or you channel, or whatever. You know, there's so many different ways to channel. But if that's something that you're interested in, I think they would find that really cool. Or even just your interest in the occult, anything related to the occult, I think that they find really fascinating. Like, I want to know more. And that they like that about you. They like that you don't give everything away right away. You know, they like that there's a mystery to you. They find you intriguing, like, I want to know more. And I think there's a lot about you that's very surprising. Because remember, we said, like, people read you all wrong. And they may have been one of those people who, when they first meet you, they peg you wrong, they get you wrong. And then the more they get to know you, it's like, oh wow, like I have to constantly like reshift my initial impression of this person. And I think they love that, you know, they love this sort of mystery to you, the way that you evolve and reveal yourself over time. You see how he's like skating on this feather, like through the clouds and over these rainbows, like that's like the process of getting to know you, you know, it's like, okay, where is this story going? But I'm excited to know the ending. And I also feel like if you're wanting children, they really, really feel like you would be a great parent. There's just something about you, and it may even be the way that you are with your pets. If you have pets, that they see that, or the way you interact with their pets, but they just feel like you have this beautiful, nurturing, maternal or paternal energy about you that they really, really love. Okay. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Group 2, welcome to your reading. So today we're gonna let your future spouse hype you up. We have the Tower card here. We have the World. We have the Eight of Wands and the Nine of Cups. We have the Flirt. We have Serenity, and we have Energy. The first phrase that comes to mind is, "You are my everything." And I think we can see that in the World. I think we can see that in the Nine of Cups. Even the way the Eight of Wands is depicted here, you are my everything. No one can hold a candle to you. That's what I'm hearing with the Eight of Wands. You're it. You're better than anyone I could have ever dreamed up. And I think that's where this Tower card is coming in too. I love the way this Tower card is depicted for your group here. We have the cake, and it's a wedding cake, and it's leaning over and it's falling. And we see the wedding topper, the couple, falling down this rainbow, and the rainbow makes me think of the Ten of Cups. It's like you shattered every expectation of what I thought I needed or I wanted in a romantic partner. You are not what they were expecting. You know, you're not the person they thought they would end up with, or the type of person they thought they would end up with. And I think that's because for a long time, they were looking for love in all the wrong people. And sometimes that happens. And if you end up meeting your future spouse kind of a little bit later in life, you know, you don't get married young, you know, this could be why. Because I think your future spouse had to heal some things. You know, they had to go through some things. They had to see what they don't want. They had to experience the contrast before they discovered what they really needed in a partner. And I think we all know maybe at least one person like that who dates the same kind of wrong person over and over again, like different name, different face, same story. You know, someone who constantly just kind of dates, for lack of a better term, losers, or, you know, people who are manipulative or cheaters, you know, people who just aren't right for them. Maybe, you know, people who are just inherently incompatible. I had one friend who always went for these super sort of emotionally distant, reserved, cold people, kind of humorless people. And, you know, it just didn't align with who they were. I'm like, you're so sensitive. You know, this person was a water sign. I'm like, you need someone who's going to be emotionally intelligent and open and willing to discuss feelings. And, you know, you're dating very cold, avoidant people over and over again, picking these very avoidant people. And you have the same complaint with every single one of them. They're emotionally distant. So I think it's something like that where, you know, they just had to go through that. And I think that you come in and you're like a wish come true, but it's like a wish that, it's like they wished for love, they wished for marriage, they wished for a life partner, but they weren't expecting you to come in the way that you did, you know? Like, it's like okay, let's say I wished for happiness, right? And maybe in my head, I thought happiness looked like living in a mansion and never having to work a day again in my life, right? But if I got that reality, maybe I would find the mansion made me feel lonely because it was so big with so many rooms, and I could go days without seeing anybody else, just walking around my house, you know? And, you know, maybe I would feel awkward having such a big home, or feel guilty about having such a big home when other people don't have very much. Or, you know, maybe I would feel bored or restless if I didn't have to work anymore, or if I wasn't productive, and maybe it just wouldn't be what I thought it would be. Maybe it would feel empty. maybe it wouldn't bring me the happiness I thought it would. I know that's kind of a stereotypical example, but then maybe the divine intervenes and is like, this is what happiness would be like for you, really. So it's like you come in and you fulfill every emotional desire that they had, but you aren't who they thought would bring them that, you know? Something about you is so wonderfully unexpected. And they're like, man, I was such an idiot. I was such a fool. You know, they may be hard on themselves. Like, man, I can't believe I wasted all that time with the wrong person or the wrong people. I can't believe I did that. There's serenity here. There's something about you that brings them such a beautiful sense of peace, but then we have it next to energy. It's like, you bring me peace, but you also have lit a fire within me. Like, you have revitalized me. You have woken me back up. I think that it's almost like they were sleepwalking through their love life, going through the motions in their love life and not really feeling very connected or very happy, because it may have been a string of bad relationships. Like I said, you know, different name, different face, same story. It may have been just one person they were stuck with for a long time. And you know, I mean, people get comfortable and they may end up staying with people that don't even share the same goals with them, and they're hoping that person is going to change their mind, and then they don't, you know? Or sometimes people will mislead you and say they want what you want when really they're wasting your time. So it could have been a lot of different things, but I feel like when you come in, you really are just a breath of fresh air, you know? Like, you are the wild card. You are the unexpected, but I think it's so needed because they were so stuck in a rut. And I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude towards you. Like, I feel like a warm, fuzzy feeling all over. They're so grateful to have you in their life in the future. And with flirt here, I think there may be something about you that almost scares them a little bit in the beginning. There's something about you, like I said, like, you're so unexpected, and I think you light this fire within them. And I think, you know, and then it's almost like I feel so safe with you, and that's almost a bit dangerous because I'm gonna fall for you really hard, and I'm gonna trust you maybe too easily, and I'm gonna open up to you too fast maybe, you know? Sometimes it's like that. You meet certain people and you don't know why, but you start opening up to them and sharing things with them that you haven't told the people closest to you, the people who know you the best. And you're like, what is it about this person's energy? It's like intoxicating. Like, I can't stop talking. I know I need to stop talking. I'm normally so guarded. I normally don't trust anybody. And here I am, pouring my heart and soul out to this stranger. Like, what am I doing? And that's why it's like you feel so safe. I feel so safe with you, and that feels so dangerous at the same time. Yeah. And I think that you bring out this flirtatious side to them. And I think that's you waking them up, you know, from that sleepwalking, going through the motions. They can't help it, you know? It's almost like they're embarrassed. They're like, yeah, I threw myself at you. You know, like, I can't even explain it. Like, I didn't expect to be attracted so much to you. I didn't expect any of this. But here we are. And I think it's a very good thing that you are not their usual type, or that you're not anything like their ex, because they weren't good for them at all. Like, it was so bad. It was so wrong for them. You know, like, some people really bring out the worst in each other. And I think that's what was happening, is that they were with someone or dating people who were so incompatible with them. Like, it was never gonna work. And they had to heal something within themselves, you know. They had to recognize that pattern. They had to end that connection. And so that's a process. That's a process. But I think ultimately here, they're saying, like, I'm so glad you're nothing like my past. And I'm so grateful you get to be my future. I'm so grateful for that. And I think you help them redefine what happiness looks like. You know, I think that they just, I don't know if it comes from their family. I don't know, but it's like they didn't even realize the kind of life that was going to make them happy until they met you. And they're like just kind of redefining and reconfiguring and just coming back to a place that feels more authentic to them. I feel like they were someone who lost themselves in love a lot. Maybe they fell for the wrong people or the wrong person and convinced themselves that that person's view of happiness and what life should be like was what they wanted too, because they didn't want to be alone and they didn't want to lose the connection. But they were trying to force themselves into a life that just wasn't right for them, that wasn't really going to make them happy. And with you, like, you two share a common sense of like what happiness is and what love should be, and you both want the same things in life. And I think you help them realize what they really want through, I guess, through how safe you make them feel. You know, like they can be truly open and honest about what they want. And you don't force them to see your perspective. You don't force them to constantly have to compromise and concede to what you want. I feel like maybe in the past, they were with really selfish people. They were with people who were very demanding, very manipulative. It's my way or the highway kind of thing. And they never had a voice. I'm hearing like I never had a voice before. And with you, I feel like I have a voice. And I think that matters. And it's like kind of crazy to me how in relationships, and this is just kind of a personal aside, this isn't, you know, like from your cards, but it's crazy to me how people will try to force their partners into things. And here's the thing, like, if you let people make decisions for themselves, you will see what they really want to do. And you'll see who they really are. And you'll see how much you matter to them. And if you're a priority. Don't force anyone into anything. Give them space to make their own choices. And you'll see if they choose you. And you'll see if, you know, what you want and what they want is truly in alignment. Because I think that's a big part of this, is that part of what makes your relationship so beautiful is that there is alignment. There is a common vision. What makes you happy makes them happy. And with flirt here, I think you two have I think you guys have a great sort of banter back and forth, but I also feel like y'all are a very touchy-feely couple, and that may be something totally new for you. It may be totally new for them. But there is this feeling of like we can't keep our hands off of each other. Like, I will say that. There's a lot of mutual physical attractiveness here. And it's like you're such a wild card. Like, I didn't expect to be so attracted to you. I didn't expect any of this. It's not just how you look. It's your energy and the way you are and your personality. It's everything. It's like, man, you are nothing like my ex. You are nothing like... I do think your future spouse has a specific type that they were going for. And again, it was all wrong for them. It just wasn't right. it wasn't clicking. So I think it's a very good thing that you're not their typical type. Because I think, again, I don't know what it is. Maybe it was pressure from family or friends or them just not knowing themselves very well, but they were just choosing the wrong kind of person to be with over and over again. And so I'm glad that they healed that, and I'm glad that they worked through it, and I'm glad that they end up finding you, group 2, because you are, I'm hearing the light at the end of the tunnel, you know, like it's been a rough journey, but so I just feel like the outcome is so worth it, you know, like, man, I went through hell and back again and back again and back again. I repeated a lot of mistakes, but you know what? If it brought me to you, then so be it. So be it. It was all worth it. I never thought I would say that, but it was all worth it. Okay. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. Group 3, last but not least, welcome to your reading. So today we're gonna let your future spouse hype you up. We have the 8 of Wands, we have the Death card, we have the Moon, Bad Dragon, Euphoria, and Longevity. Okay. We have repeating Scorpio energy here with Longevity and the Death card here. I will say, with your reading here, it does feel heavier, and I think it's because your future spouse is quite emotional. I almost want to tear up a little bit with the energy that's present, because there's this feeling of I prayed for you, I hoped for you, I wished for you, but I didn't think you would ever come. And I didn't think I deserved someone like you. I didn't think I could hold on to someone like you. I think that prior to you two meeting, your future spouse may have really gotten their heart broken. They may have a difficult relationship with a parent, maybe their caregiver, their mom or their dad, maybe they were super cold, because there's this feeling of like, with the death card, you see this deer looking in the water and seeing its reflection and this rippling, like they don't see themselves very clearly, and they had to heal that. They had to heal their self-image before they could meet you. And they couldn't see, the sun rising over the hilltops here, because they're so fixated on this distorted image of who they are. So fixated on their flaws and not feeling good enough. And maybe they told themselves, I can't really focus on love, or I can't focus on finding the one until I'm successful in my career and I'm making like X amount of dollars a year. I can't settle down. I can't think about that. I can't focus on it until I'm successful. And they may be one of those people that, and there's nothing wrong with being healthy. I'm not saying that, but I'm just giving examples here. But maybe they like obsessively go to the gym and they have these like sort of fixations with their physical body. Like they feel like they have to have, a certain physical appearance, physique, to be desirable. They have to stay committed to a very strict diet or a very strict gym routine. And, they don't feel very lovable outside of their physical appearance. Maybe they were someone that put a lot of stock into their physical appearance because they felt like the rest of them was lacking in some way, or maybe that's where that desire for like career success comes from. Like, I feel this need for like external validation because I don't feel good about myself. So I'm going to really focus on my physical appearance, or I'm going to really focus on how much money I make because I don't feel good enough otherwise. And so with the Eight of Wands, I feel like they were just busy, trying to get to this place of like feeling good about themselves, but it was all coming from an external, superficial place. And so it's like a point of reckoning where they have to, and something in their life kind of forces them to this, but where they have to finally love themselves, and not from a place of like, I accept myself because I've achieved this career goal or something like that. Because when you strip that stuff away, what are you left with, right? If you put all of your self-confidence into being successful, well, if something happens and you don't meet a certain goal, well, your whole self-esteem breaks down, right? You have a total breakdown. And that's why your self-love, your self-acceptance has to be inherent. You have to feel like I am inherently worthy. I don't have to do anything to prove my worth. And maybe that got them into bad relationships where, they felt like if I don't look physically perfect, or if I'm not making a certain amount of money, I'm not spending this amount of money on my partner. Sometimes people fall into that role of, if I can't be a good provider, they're not going to stay with me. This can play out in a lot of different ways, but again, those are just kind of two, I think, obvious examples. But I think that they had to heal that before they met you, but at the same time, I feel like you kind of help cement that for them. That they are lovable and deserving and good enough, and that these other superficial things don't really matter. That they are lovable regardless of what they look like or how much money they make, or any other superficial thing. The kind of car they drive, the house they live in, they're still lovable. And I think that there's something about you where You're like a balm. I'm hearing a balm to my anxiety. They may have had a fear of abandonment, because I just feel like they're the type of person where they give so much. They do so much for their partner. They treat their partner like royalty because they don't want to get left. So they give too much. It reminds me of the Golden Girls. There's a scene where Sophia is telling Dorothy, when you give too much, you're going to get hurt. And that line always stuck with me because it had personal resonance, but I think that's where it comes from. You know, they may have a love language of gift giving or acts of service, like I'm going to give, I'm going to give, I'm going to do for you because I don't want you to leave me. And I think for you, they have so much gratitude towards you because you don't take and take and take from them. And in fact, you tell them it's too much. You don't have to give so much. You yourself are enough. I think that they're on this healing journey, right? But I feel like you cement for them. Because healing is always a lifelong process, but I feel like you really come in and help ground those lessons into them. Like, you are good enough as you are. You are lovable as you are. You don't have to give so much. And I think you teach them how to receive love too. Because maybe you yourself are very giving. And so for your future spouse to be a giver, it's like, oh my gosh, I've only ever been with takers, and now you're a giver too? That's so healing. And with the moon card here, I wonder if you two are mirroring each other. I wonder if some of the things I've been describing you yourself have personal resonance with. Like, yeah, I give too much. Yeah, I have a fear of abandonment. Yeah, I don't always feel so lovable. Yeah, I seek external validation. You two may mirror each other. But your future spouse is saying, like, I've had this fear of being left for so long, but with you, I finally have this like peace of mind. I finally have this comfort that someone is going to stay. And with euphoria, that feels intoxicating. This idea that someone will stay, that I don't have to work so hard, that just being myself is enough, that I don't have to wear a mask, I don't have to pretend to be perfect, I can just be me. And that's enough. It feels so liberating, it feels so freeing. And with longevity, it's like, I finally trust that I have someone who's going to be a life partner. That's really what this is. It's for life. And I don't have to walk this path alone anymore. And this feeling of like, with the moon, like I have someone who will hold my hand through every challenge life may bring, because life always comes with challenges. But now I know I don't have to face that alone. I don't have to face the darkness of the unknown, the unknowable future alone. I have someone. And I think they respect so much, like, your wisdom and what you bring to the table. And I think through loving you, they come to love themselves more deeply, because you give them space to be their authentic self, and you don't shame them or make them feel guilty because they're human and they have insecurities. We all have them. And I think that both of you provide a safe space to be able to express when you feel insecure. And it doesn't have to be this shameful, awful thing that has to be repressed. And I think that they look at you like you're just magical. You know, they look at you like you're a fairy or like a dragon, like like how are you real? Like almost like this mystical kind of quality to you. You know, like if you've been searching for something for so long and then you finally find it, you're like, is this a mirage? Is this real? Am I delusional? You know, am I just so tired from this journey that I'm tricking myself into thinking this is real when it's not? It's like this love is so good. It's so real. It's so honest and pure. Am I imagining it? Did I dream it up? And with Bad Dragon here, I love this because I think this goes back to this idea of like not having to always be your best self, you know, like you guys both, I think, give each other space to be moody or to be temperamental or to have an off day and not hold a grudge against the other person, you know, like you guys give each other space to be human. And how beautiful is that? I love you. Even when you're at your worst, like it doesn't change how I feel about you. And we're all entitled to our bad days. We're entitled to our imperfections. That's what makes us human. We're entitled to our humanity. And I think on a more lighthearted note, you two, I think, have this kind of like verbal banter between you two. I think you have a really nice, easy rapport. And when you have that, you can joke around with each other. You can fuss with each other. You can bicker. And, you know, it's not really an argument. You know, it's fun. It's lighthearted. It's a way, I think, of kind of coping with each other's differences in a healthy way, in a playful way, you know, where there's not this anger or resentment or like passive aggressiveness. You know, it's just out in the open. Like we can say whatever to each other. We can say whatever to each other. I think that feels so good to your future spouse to not have to. It's like before they were just playing a role, you know, they were trying to be the perfect partner. And it was killing them to always have to be perfect, to always be the one self-sacrificing. And I think you're the first person that's really shown them that love doesn't always have to be this big sacrifice. It doesn't mean losing yourself. It doesn't mean hiding the parts of yourself that you think are too ugly for anyone else to see. Love is supposed to be raw. It is supposed to be vulnerable. It's about letting someone else see you for who you truly are and not being afraid to let that mask fall. You showed me I don't have to be perfect to be lovable. I don't have to give so much to be loved. You've shown me I'm not difficult to love. I think in the past, your future spouse dealt with people using them. And this could be like using them for their physical body, using them for their money, any sort of like resource connection that they had, just using them, you know, taking advantage of their kindness. And I think that you may be the first experience of like reciprocity that they've had, this idea of give and take within a relationship. It's really beautiful. There's just, again, like such an overwhelming sense of gratitude towards you. And I do feel like, quite honestly, with you all, it's like soul recognition. I think y'all are soulmates. I think there's a lot of mirroring going on. And I think it's going to be a sort of love at first sight kind of thing for them. I think they're going to fall head over heels with you quite quickly. And that might make them nervous. But I think that they can't deny, you know, how they feel about you. And I think that you are a really big risk. You're a really big gamble, because the way that they feel about you, it's like, man, group 3 could really break my heart. Group 3 could ruin me. But I trust that they won't ever do that to me. And I hope that they trust that I would never do that to them. And with longevity, you're going to have a marriage that lasts. You're going to have a love that lasts. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading.